Shanti. Good morning, everyone. Let's take a moment to stabilize ourselves in remembrance of Baba and on the self-respect of who I am is a pure being of light. Today we are revising the Murli dated 24th of April 1974. Title of the Murli is Fix a Date for Becoming an Embodiment of One who grants visions of the Trimurti Lights. Today's Murli is a reminder that Baba is giving it to us to look within and check on our stage of whether I, the soul, is always in remembrance of Shiv Baba. Am I always radiating the light of purity by stabilizing in the stage of soul consciousness? Further in today's Murli, Baba is also focusing on and telling us what is the core responsibility of we Brahmin children. He says, we are the one who will show the Father's learnings in the world practically, and we radiating that by bringing hopes in the hearts of hopeless? Are we the instruments in transforming the impossible to be the possible? So let's read this Murli together and reflect as to where I am in my stage of purity. Which speciality of this gathering is Baghdada seeing today? Does each of you know your own speciality? The Trimurti Father is seeing the three lights in the Trimurti dynasty as to whether all three lights attract others to you or whether they are number-wise. When all three lights are sparkling brightly and visibly, you are then able to grant visions. The light of purity, the light of completely pure and divine drishti, and the light of jewel on the forehead. These three are the main things that make you complete. So ask yourself to what extent there is constant Satopradhan, soul conscious vision, and the sparkle of purity in your every thought, word, and deed exist. Have you become one who is constantly an embodiment of remembrance? If you lack even one aspect, you would not be able to grant visions of the Trimurti lights. This purity is the most elevated and easiest publicity, and it is the final form of publicity which no other soul is able to attain. Let's underline this statement. This purity, the Trimurti purity light that Baba speaks about, is the most elevated and easiest publicity, and it is the final form of publicity which no other soul is able to attain. In the task of world transformation, the most powerful means of publicity of few special souls is this. So, are you creating such publicity? Have you created such a plan or such a unique film? The whole Murli Baba is bringing across a lot of aspects from the Lokik world and how the Alokik world can actually bring across these tools to make publicity, which is invert out publicity. Just as people are very much impressed when they see worldly films, in the same way, if your forehead and eyes showed films which gave such unique experiences, would people not be transformed? When you sit in front of the screen, you are able to see many different scenes. In the same way, when people come in front of you, they should be able to see many types of divine vision. Are you preparing such a film? Are you engaged in this effort, or are you still engaged in setting yourself on your seat? Today, souls of the world want something new, something which has not even entered anyone's thoughts. Who will become the instruments to carry out such a task? Baba says it's Maharathis. And further he explains what is Maharathi. Each of you considers yourself to be a Maharathi, do you not? You constantly have the courage to become Sri Lakshmi or Sri Narayan in the future, and none of you raises your hand for coming into the moon dynasty. Therefore, those who come in the sun dynasty are Maharathis, are they not? When all the Maharathis begin to perform such an elevated task, then in how much time would world transformation take place? There is a gathering of the Maharathis from time to time. In the gathering of the present time, will you also just make plans as in the previous gatherings, or will you also fix a date for making an impression in a practical way? Just as you make a plan and fix a date for many other things, in the same way, will you fix a plan and a date for becoming the complete and successful embodiments who grant visions of the Trimurti lights? Or will there be another meeting for that? Scientists create time bombs. So, are you not able to create time bombs? Here, Baba is talking about spiritual time bombs. Do you just create bombs? Or do you think that the land is not yet ready at present for that practical, visible fruit to emerge? In today's world, it is not difficult to transform land. No matter what the land is like, you are able to grow fruit on that land by using science. It is able to make someone who has no hope into someone who is full of hope. So today we see there is good agriculture happening even in desert land of Rajasthan. And how is that possible? Because of the technology of science. So Baba says if science can bring in this transformation, then cannot you, my children, have this power to transform the world? So, can you master almighty authorities, those who have a crown, a throne, and a tilak, not make those in whom there is no hope into those who have hope? To challenge the impossible and make it possible is the original dharma, duty of you Brahmins. That is, it is your dharma and your dharana. So, is it easy or difficult to stabilize yourself in your original dharma? What do you write on the boards you put up? Claim your birthright in a second. So, you definitely must have a practical plan to claim it in a second. For this is why you write this. So, this is the challenge you issue for making the impossible possible, is it not? When will you begin to perform such a fast task? You also write other words at the bottom of the board. If not now, then never. Abhi nahi, to kabhi nahi. Then it should be from now, should it not? This year, make a unique plan. However, first are the images that grant visions ready. So this is, let's take a moment to reflect within ourselves and ask ourselves, are we the images who have to grant visions ready for this task? On the path of devotion, there is the system that if an idol is even slightly damaged, it is not considered worthy of being worshipped or even worthy of being in a temple, nor can it be an idol that people have a glimpse of. Would it seem right if, when the curtain of the drama opened, the idol behind it was not yet complete? In their decorations, the 16 decorations are specially remembered. So, in the same way, have you become 16 celestial degrees full, Sola Kala Sampurna? Or is it that at the time you want a particular skill, you are not able to put that skill into practice? If you are able to remember it, but not able to become an embodiment of it, then how would you attain success? If on a battlefield you are not able to use your weapons at the right time, would you gain victory? First of all, make a practical plan to make yourself complete, and success will easily come personally in front of you. What results have been seen so far? Is it visible that both service of the self and service of others take place constantly and simultaneously, and that the balance between the two is maintained? The balance of the two will become instrumental to give the souls of the world the experience of bliss. In fact, The entire task is the Father's. But just as there are instruments for all the other tasks, so too, why do you forget to become the instruments for this task? When devotees find a task difficult, they leave it to God. When it is easy, they do it themselves. And when it is difficult, they leave it to God. However, the Father has now made you the instruments of all the powers and for all the tasks, has He not? Because the Father has given you the throne and the crown and taken Himself into the stage of retirement. The remaining responsibility of the Father is now the responsibility of few children. Yes, the Father is definitely your helper, but in the corporal form and in glorifying His name, it is the Son who shows the Father. Therefore, you are the souls who are responsible. You are not ordinary souls. You are knowledgeable and victorious jewels. Do you understand? This is the task of Maharathis. Acha, to those who make practical plans for practical instant fruit, to those who claim the right of having constant victory as their birthright, to those who fulfill a challenge practically, to those who belong to the Trimurti clan and who have the dharana of the Trimurti lights and become embodiments who grant visions of that, to those who use all three powers simultaneously in a second and who are constant companions of Bab Dada, to such Mahavirs, Bab Dada's love, remembrance, and good night. From we soul, Bab Dada's love, from we souls, remembrance and love to Bab Dada. Acha, Om, Shanti. Let's take few moments of silence to reflect on the points of the Murli, and then we come back to share. You can unmute and share your takeaways from today's Murli.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
While the entire Murli is very beautiful, especially the aspects of purity, what I found one aspect very interesting that Baba says that he has already given you the crown and the throne to, be like the Trimurti and sharing the grace with everyone. And he's going into retirement. I find that line very interesting because I'm just curious. How would Baba ever be in retirement? Because he's constantly there. So what is he trying to tell us through that sentence? That we don't just keep waiting for Baba to do everything. We take action on our own, practically. That is the spirit I'm drawing from that, and maybe others would like to add on to that. Om Shanti.
Yes, sister, while you were sharing what I was getting was Baba always says that एक कदम हिम्मत का and 100 कदम मदद बाबा आपको करेंगे. So you take that one step of courage. Baba is always there to help you. Because Baba says he's giving you all of his treasures. You have all his values, virtues, powers that he is sustaining us with. And now practically, since Baba Dada is in the subtle world, in the corporal form, it's we children who have this responsibility to bring all of that to the world. That's my reflection on this. Others can share theirs.
Om Shanti, sister. Good morning.
Om Shanti.
Yeah, very nice, Murli. So here, Baba said that, Brahmins are with all powers. Master, almighty authority means all powers. And yeah, like sister said, crown, tilak, and throne. So here, we become number-wise when we are not able to dharana, imbibe what Baba says, or we are not able to use the powers that which Baba give us at the right time. Right, that's where I think we become number-wise. So when we can also say when the enemy is on the field and we have to face the enemy, so we don't remember the right weapon that we have with us, right? Then we will not be able to fight the battle. And we remember the weapon when the enemy is gone, or the battle is over, or we are defeated. After we remember, then it's of no use, right? So it's all powers means we should be able to use the power at the right time we need. So Baba said Maharathis are those who do that. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Yes, brother.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti, Gurujaran.
Today, Baba has made me a film director. And he has also told me how to go about it, like as if he's a film institute. In the first paragraph, he's saying what you have to reveal. So I needn't have too many channels in my thing for people to attract and browse through different channels. Just one channel. And what is the film which must run is, Baba is saying, 3 lights. That picture. When we were young, they used to have a box, and then they used to turn, they say, Taj Mahal dekho, dekho, so much. And we used to go and peep through that. That way, Baba is saying, run a film in your mind. So like we sit and get glued to the TV and we watch every scene by scene by scene, how people sit in front of TV. That way people should flock to you, get attracted to you, and see divine visions running through your face and all. So I think it's I should start such a film on my mind so that even as I'm walking and moving about, when I'm looking, I'm going to see what film do I show this person? What film do I show this person? I think that is one thing which really attracted me. The two thing which, second thing which attracted is the humility in Baba. If you see in the last but one paragraph, Baba is saying, yes, every task is Father's task. He only has to bring it at you. He has to do. But aren't you instruments? And now one thing Baba is saying, if suppose you take up this responsibility, and if you do it, the Father will become your helper. Why that sentence has been given? Because Baba knows he cannot reveal himself. He cannot glorify himself. I have to do that. So what a major responsibility. And then Father says, I'll be a helper. Son shows Father. These two aspects were something striking.
Yes, Grijaben, thank you for bringing that point. While I was reading that particular point yesterday, the Murli, what I was getting was there's so much of publicity that's been done in the external world through media, which is going to be newspapers or through flyers or through TV ads or through radio. But today Baba is bringing our attention to something much beyond that. He says, if we prepare our state, if you, the soul, are working on your levels of purity, the light of purity will shine itself and attract the world out. So he was reminding us by this Murli to work on our own stage of purity. And it's going to be only after that would we see these three lights of Trimurti lights that he's speaking today's Murli will reflect itself and attract the world. So it was very deep message to work the deeper level within our own selves. It was a lot of inward out approach is what I saw for myself as a message from this Murli. Where the investment is only an investment on self, introspection, reflection, and then reflecting that back through the light of purity.
Sister, just one more point that I would like to share here is the
Yes, brother.
Scientist, Baba mentioned about scientists, they create time bomb, right? So they are able to create time bomb. So the bomb will blast based on the time they set. So Baba is also saying us to in the same way, so to fix a plan and date for becoming us to complete and successful, okay? And then grant the vision, Trimurti Light. So if we look at this world now, the bombs are ready for destruction, and Golden Age, Sri Krishna and Radhe, they are also ready. So just the children who have to go into the kingdom are not yet ready. So the bombs are actually waiting for us to take our complete or perfect form, isn't it?
Yeah, that's another reflection towards it.
And just to add a couple of more reflections. When Baba speaks about, I don't know what is that adjective given for the land, which doesn't yield anything. And there is science and all, how to make it yield. So many sciences are there, and agriculture has become science now, and people do research on it, and we have PhDs doing on it. Baba saying, you are my PhD. Can't you change this land like that? Can't you? And he's telling us even it is a dharma and dharma. Those two words carry so much for the transformation task which he has given. It's a big work, I know that. But what I liked is that idol. You know, I was a lot into bhakti. In bhakti, especially if you go to the south and all, if you see, the way they remove the alankar of the previous day and then clean it, there's a special kind of a red cloth which they use. And then there is abhishek, alankar, then pu alankar, arti and all, which they is referred as Nauda Bhakti. All that methodically it is done, and then the idol is presented. And when the curtain opens, you must just see the people, the devotees, that as if they find beauty in it. But what went behind it, all that process to get ready. So here also Baba, the way he's telling us, all that decoration, my memorial, which was done to me, get that all done. So when the curtain opens and when people have a glimpse of you, wow, how they'll see what beauty it is. So even land and as well as this bhakti thing attracted.
Yeah, it's a short Murli. Today's Murli is a short Murli, but too many examples that Baba has given, which we can relate to happening in the world. And what is that? I, the soul, have to work on myself. And the value of purity is what he's brought across as a reminder. And the example that you were sharing, Girija Ben, from the Murli today, is a reminder for each one of us to check not just at the gross level, but also at subtle level. Are my thoughts, words, and deeds are in the space of purity? There's the slightest of alloy there, or slightest of impurity, will make that space darker and will not allow the light to come out, the light of purity. There are a few messages on chat. Usha sister says, Dharma of Brahmins is to make impossible possible. Radhamani sister says, this year, make a unique plan. Another message where she says, we must create spiritual time bombs. Yes, Girijaben. Now the bhakti, how idol is prepared before the curtain opens. For us to reflect is, are we all ready before the curtain of Satyug opens? Or are we making ourselves ready to be the one who is the instrument for this transformation? Sandhya Ben, Lata Ben, Chandrakala Ben, any takeaways from your side? Sakshi Ben, Ramila Ben, Sridhar Bhai. Would anyone of you like to share?
Sister, can you just throw some light on this paragraph? See, Baba is saying he's giving us all those adjectives which he does every day: practical, victorious, challenge, and all. But can you, that one line, service to the self and service of others, balance. You know, that's where sometimes I find there is a lacking. Sometimes we do too much for the self. And this. So what is a practical thing, like for you personally? How do you take care of what is the service for the self and others? And he's saying constantly, simultaneously, and balance. Could you please throw some light?
I will share out of my experience. So while working on or being of service to others, is my energy is depleting at the end of the day? Am I feeling tired while I'm working for others? That's the point for me to check. That's how I check for myself. And then look at how do I balance between bringing my energies, what is that's required. So taking a time out, making that time for myself, reflecting on what is that I need to work on through meditation, through listening to the discussions or any of the classes, being with my own self and checking on what has happened for the whole day. Before checking on making the plan for the day during Amrit Vela, bringing that balance is what I have taken on, because I've seen that at times either I may work only for myself or work or do service for others. So bringing that balance by looking within my own self on my own thoughts, deeds, and words. And while I'm in this space of service, am I feeling energetic? Is the point for me to check. Is there anywhere there is a depletion, then that's a checking that there is an imbalance happening. So that's something which has worked or working for me. I'll say work in progress every day. Others can also share their thoughts on this.
Anywhere you found things difficult for you that you left it to God?
Oh, yes. I think the places where, especially in the work scenarios, where there's so many things which are beyond one's own control. So surrendering to Almighty, and it's your task. I'm just an instrument standing there and then operating. So yeah, challenges definitely comes in wherein I have no answer as to how to move forward. And that's the time I leave it to God.
In fact, the challenges come for you to remember God or leave it to God, isn't it? That's when it's an opportunity to uplift us. I mean, it's all the way we look at it, yeah.
Yes, yes. Very true, very rightly brought across, brother, this particular point that actually remembrance of God is always there. But sometimes when we are so much engrossed in our own work, and when we leave that or we not make ourselves available to God, is when we feel the challenges are becoming a burden.
Sometimes there is, I'm talking about from my side, yeah. Sometimes when we are at work and sometimes there is a lot to do, sometimes it's just okay. So when we are very much connected to work and the other side, there is a possibility that we may feel, or often we find difficult to maintain that remembrance. Okay. And then if that happens for a long period of time, right, then there is a kind of repentance that, you know, this work is actually whether is it a Maya or is it my responsibility? Of course, it is responsibility in one aspect, but I sometimes think is it a Maya, because somewhere I read that, you know, anything that keeps you away from Baba is consider it as a Maya.
Yeah.
Brother, can you
God,
just
sorry.
clarify this? I liked your term, remember God or leave it to God. So beautiful you summed it up. Can you just tell me, because I find one is Baba, Baba, Baba. The other is, okay, it's my beta, my dikta. I just want to know, where do you draw that line? Just if you can sum up.
yeah, when when things happen the way we plan, right, then it becomes easy. When see every time it doesn't happen, it happens only some days, and some days are always challenging. So when it happens as per we plan, then everything goes well. When things don't fall, then we leave it to God. Raki sister, anything you would like to add here?
Nothing that I have to add on here. What I feel is, um, it's been natural with the 63 birth sanskar to remember God when it's challenging times, and when things are easy, we just leave it there. So that's one of the reflection. Otherwise, nothing from my end on this at the moment. Gijaben, that answers your question. You have
Yeah, because it was such a rejoinder for me, just that two words when he just put it very naturally. Remember, I was just thinking that's what Baba is saying. But if you see, even it happens in Bhagats. No, they keep remembering, keep doing puja, and then when they are really saying nothing is working, you must see the final climax. Are you there? Are you still alive? Are you just a stone idol? What are you? I'm just leaving it to you. And then they resign themselves and go. Baba is just comparing. So I was just also taking that as a because we are not like Bhagats, we are very special. Oh my God, he has given us throne, crown. Can I just say, oh Baba, take your throne, take your crown, do everything on your own? Even though he says, main baitha hu, chinta mat karo. So I was just thinking to know how do y'all practically when you'll do that final climax. I think it's a nice thing for me to really adapt it. Thank you, both of you.
Let's take one more sharing before we move on to meditation. Anybody like to share any more reflections? Okay, so let's move on to being with Baba for a few minutes. Let's remain in silence and reflect on what Baba was sharing with us through this Murli today. See within myself on my stage of purity and the vision of soul consciousness with which I see the world. Let's take this homework today to be agile in my thoughts, words, deeds, and the level of purity. Have one point of checking wherever my energy is depleting while I'm taking on my role on the world stage. I catch myself and make myself available to the teachings of Almighty and be His Master Almighty Son to reflect the purity back. with this self-respect of I am a pure soul, I begin my work back in the world drama today. Om Shanti. Have a wonderful day, and we meet tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.